Bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous allez bien pendant cette période estivale. Voilà, nous vous avons prévu un programme qui retrace tout ce que nous avons partagé comme Connecting Day depuis le mois de janvier jusqu'au mois de juin. Vous allez voir ce soir donc une des journées que nous avons eues de telle sorte que vous puissiez la revivre et pourquoi pas trouver des partenaires et aussi élargir votre marché sur le pays qui a été cité ce soir. Hello everyone, I hope you are good during this summer. We are prepared for you, the connecting days that we started since January until June. So we hope that we will have a good program and you will enjoy this country that you will discover, and maybe you will have a lot of contact just to make business in this country. So we give you rendezvous after that just to be in contact with you. So have a good program. Bon programme et bon Connecting Day. Au revoir.
Bienvenue à Connecting Days, organisé par Continental Working et ses partenaires. C'est une plateforme qui vous apporte les meilleures relations d'affaires avec le continent africain. Hello and welcome to Connecting Days, an event organized by Continental Working and its partners. There to help you to create the best relationships with the African continent.
Ebook, like they've said, and the CEO of Sense Greek and also Sense, an HR company in Lagos, Nigeria. I've been in agriculture for the past 9 years, and we do a lot of work with new entrants into the sector. So today I'm going to talk about investment opportunities in agriculture in Nigeria. Before into that, I think the first thing I'll do is a brief introduction, is to talk about just a bit of agriculture in Nigeria and where we are. The sector is large, it's full of potential, but it's largely underdeveloped. And I don't think that is a surprise to anybody, because if you know the way Nigeria is, we've been focused a lot on oil, and because of that, we haven't developed our agriculture sector the way we should have. So it's not a surprise that our agriculture sector is largely underdeveloped. But that is not to say that it doesn't have potential. It has a lot of potential. At the moment, the sector is characterized by 50% post-harvest losses of food. So we get a lot of waste. And I really believe that we produce enough food in Nigeria. I believe that the problem we have is that we produce a lot, but a lot of it goes to waste for reasons that we'll talk about in a few minutes. In addition to that, we are a net importer of food in Nigeria. With all the land and everything we have, we still spend a lot of money importing food into Nigeria. And so that is where the opportunity lies for people who want to be involved in the agriculture sector. In the past, in the 1960s, agriculture accounted for 80% of our export earnings. It's the largest employer of labor, and it still is. And it was also, it accounted for 60% GDP and 50% of the government revenue. But along the line, when oil came, a lot of this changed, and it became, relegated to the background. 2019, it was just 22% of our GDP, and it accounts for 1.8% of our exports. So you see that we have gone really far down the line from where we were in the 60s. The global picture. What is happening? We have to set a context of what's happening around the world so we understand the importance of the Nigerian agriculture sector. We have a rising world population, and we've been told that by the year 2050, we're going to have about 2.3 billion people additional to the world. Now, that means that we need to increase levels by at least 70% if we're going to feed an estimated 9.1 billion people. So, for example, we need cereals for animal consumption, estimated at 3 billion tons. At the moment, it's just about over. So if we're going to meet the population need for food in 2050, we need to increase this to about 3 billion tons. In addition, there's a rising need for feedstock. For a growing biotechnology industry, which places more demands on crops that were before meant for consumption. So now we have a lot of emphasis on biotechnology. And it now means that apart from food for consumption, we also need to be able to produce, to be able to feed these new industries. There's also the need to expand arable land to accommodate the increase in production. So if we're going to be feeding 9 billion people in 2050, we need arable land to do so. It is estimated that we would need an additional 70 million hectares of land. Of the total arable land available world over, 120 million hectares are in the developing countries. And so there's a lot of emphasis on the developing countries to get their agriculture right if we're going to be the saviors of the world in 2050. Of the 80% of the expansion will take place in sub-Saharan Africa. Nigeria currently has about 48 million hectares of uncultivated, and you can see that that is a lot of land. Also, in Nigeria, we have, not just in Nigeria, world over, we have an aging population of farmers. Agriculture is not exactly very attractive at the younger generation because they see it as something that you do if you don't have a choice. It's for poor people. And so there's a need to make agriculture into a business, and an attractive business at that. Research and improved technology in the area of crop production means that higher yield crops that are more diseases and pests becoming common. And then, of course, there's also the issue of climate change, which may affect culture in most countries if we don't manage it properly. And so these are all the things in the global environment that are going to impact Nigerian agriculture. So where does Nigeria sit in all of this? Nigeria sits in the midst of abundant but underutilized natural and human resources. Agriculture is very critical to the Nigerian economy. It provides employment to 70 million of the population, and it provides food for over 180 million people. Nigeria's climate permits the cultivation of a variety of crops. We can grow anything in Nigeria. We can grow root crops, we can grow tree crops, we can grow cereals, we can grow an assortment of fruits and vegetables. So things like strawberries can be part of Nigeria, around the plateau, where the weather is just right for such things. So we have an abundance of fruits and vegetables and foods that we can grow because we have. So some facts that we need to know. 1, 70% of the total population are farmers. That means about 124 million people. 85 to 90 of the total population of farmers are subsistent farmers. So they produce largely for consumption. And over the years, they've maintained relatively unchanged farming practices. So basically, they've been doing the same thing that their forefathers did over and over again. But having said that, we must also acknowledge that it's this same group of people who have been feeding the nation for centuries. In addition to that, landholding in Nigeria is fragmented because of the tradition of passing from one generation to the other. So a farmer can have a small parcel of land in locations. On average, a farmer owns approximately 6 hectares of land, which in international agricultural circles is classified as small holdings. 95.7% of farmers in Nigeria own between 0 to 10 and 6 hectares, classifying them as smallholder farmers. 4% are medium-scale farmers with 6 hectares and 9 hectares of land, while a minute 0.3% can be classified as large-scale with more than 10 hectares of land. The emergence of new generation of farmers with 25 hectares or more who are ready to embrace more techniques is a welcome development. The potential of the sector. Nigeria agriculture sector has enormous potential, with an opportunity to grow our outputs by 160% from $99 billion at present to $256 billion by 2030. The growth potential comes from our ability to increase our yield to 80 to 100% of benchmark countries. We also have an opportunity to increase agricultural average to 36% of Nigeria's unused arable land. We also have an opportunity to shift 20% of production to higher value crops, such as a lot of the fruits and the vegetables. The sector is and ready to welcome innovative new approaches to increased profits and growth. Every aspect of the value chain provides opportunities for you. There are challenges, but the potential far outweighs these. And so, why do you need to invest in Nigerian agriculture? Nigeria faces a large and growing global agricultural market. We have a growing demand for food. With a population increase, there's a growing demand for food. There are opportunities in biofuels as safe sources of alternative fuel to become the main driver for more equitable income growth. So what I've done is to make this more easier to follow. I have broken it down along the value. So what I've done is I've taken the beginning of the value chain to the end of the agricultural value chain to show the different opportunities available in the different value chains. So we start off with the beginning, which is agricultural inputs. Inputs are the starting point for all agricultural activities. The availability of the right inputs can improve the quality of the produce and enhance production. Some key inputs include planting materials, seedlings, quality seeds, fertilizer, agrochemicals, animal stock, broodstock, fingerlings, equipment, livestock feed production, etc. In all of this, I have selected agrochemicals to talk about and equipment as two of the major areas in inputs. Agrochemicals are a staple in the agricultural sector as it protects plants from diseases, pests, and weeds, thereby guaranteeing better harvests and more food. The agrochemical industry in Nigeria is worth $250 million. 99% of agrochemicals are imported into Nigeria, which makes the sector an investor's dream. Recent estimates put the growth in demand for crop protection products at 9% per annum, with projection of $150 million in annual sales. Opportunities exist for investment in the production, import, and blending of quality agrochemicals. Equipment leasing. Presently, the cost of clearing land constitutes a large chunk of the amount spent by farmers. According to the World Bank, the average number of tractors per 100 kilometers square of arable land in Nigeria is 6.8, compared to 29 in Kenya and the world average of 195.3. With just over 30 million hectares of land under cultivation, Nigeria is home to somewhere in the region of 20,000 public and private tractors, which you'll agree with me is nothing. This falls significantly short of the numbers required, even under conservative estimates. Approximately 60% of the nation's 16 million smallholders could be legitimate potential customers for a tractor service provider. Over 70,000 tractors would be needed. So we now move from inputs to the next stage on the value chain, which is production. Agriculture production covers a vast array of activities and includes such areas as animal production, crop production, agroforestry, aquaculture. Production in agriculture is yet to reach its potential. Every field of production, we are producing below potential and have to import to make up. Aquaculture is currently 4 million tons, while the potential is 2.5 million tons. So by aquaculture, I'm referring as not the cultivated fishery, but the regular fishing. Within this gap lies numerous opportunities for interested persons. Some of the opportunities include production of fish feeds. This is a major area for investment. In fact, in Lagos State, it is one of the critical areas for the Lagos State government to get as many people as possible investing in livestock feeds. Also, the production of good quality fingerlings for farmers, and then processing. Another area under production I've singled out is cassava production. Nigerian cassava production is by far the largest in the world. Production in 2017 was estimated at 9 million metric tons and continues to increase rapidly. In spite of this, we are still producing below potential, as 90% of the current production is for consumption. With the 10% inclusion in flour that came up about 12 years ago in Nigeria, and its increasing use for biofuel, the demand is expected to reach additional 1.1 million tons of fresh cassava. Area we have a single is rice production and milling. We are the largest importer of rice in the world. Nigeria's rice consumption is projected to 6 million tons by 2050. 7 million tons that we are on now. And so there is an opportunity in processing. Then we move on to the next step on the value chain, logistics. Logistics is all about ensuring that the right produce is delivered in right quantity, condition, to the right place, at the right time, and at the right cost. The logistics industry is underdeveloped and dominated by small to medium-sized companies. The logistics company, the oil sector, sufficiently serve the agriculture sector. concern include transportation, moving of produce from one location to the other, storage and warehousing. We have a huge house for the massive post-harvest loss that we saw. Distribution. These areas are severely underdeveloped. Developed can have impact on the agriculture industry. Transportation inefficiencies in the logistics chain contribute to a loss of perishable food products up to the tune of 50%. Storage for grains and the cold chain variety for perishable goods are in severe. Different areas that require cold chain storage include poultry, horticulture, that's vegetables, flowers, special purpose transport vehicles, like cold chain transport, for making sure that when we transport poultry or we're transporting fruits and vegetables, that they remain fresh, is definitely missing. Preservation services. I'm sure most of us know that cassava undergoes post-harvest physiological deterioration, which reduces the quality of the produce within 48 hours of harvest. But there are ways of preserving cassava so that we do not have this, decline in the starch content, and that includes things like waxing of cassava or freezing. We don't have any of these available. Storage. An estimated 60% of agricultural produce is wasted annually due to limited storage facilities. It provides an opportunity for anybody who is versed in storage and agricultural storage at that. The provision of storage facilities to farmers at various locations, including smaller cities across the country, will be an invaluable contribution to the agriculture sector. Then we move to the next level on the value chain, which is processing. Processing is all about transforming products originating from agriculture into finished products. The potential for agro-industrial development in the country is largely linked to the relative abundance of agricultural raw materials and low cost of labor. In a study conducted by the which involved individual in-depth interviews with major agro-processing firms, it was revealed that an overwhelming $10 billion private sector investment opportunities exist in the agro industry. One area that I want to highlight is juice concentrates. Nigeria has an abundance, and when I say an abundance, I mean an abundance of food. We produce a lot of mangoes, for instance. I took a trip about 2 years ago to the northern side of the country. And on the way to Nasarawa State, there was so much mango. A lot of them were growing, not because anybody planted them, but they've been there. And the waste was eye-watering. It was very, very sad to see. So, and you would think that in all of this, that the concentrates that the juice industry or the drinks industry in Nigeria uses is produced in Nigeria. You'll be wrong. Over 1 million pounds of citrus was wasted due to insufficient storage infrastructure. Nigeria produces 30% of all the citrus in the world and 82% of all the citrus in Africa. But it is yet to translate this into processing. All of the concentrates used in juice companies in Nigeria are imported. As such, opportunities exist to process fruits to pulp and fruit juices. Another area is tomatoes. The size of the Nigerian market for tomato paste is approximately 200,000 tons per annum. And with proximity to a broader West African market, it could easily go up to between 300,000 and 400,000 tons per annum. Nigeria is ranked the second largest producer of tomato in Africa and the 13th in the world, producing 1.17 million tons. Despite this advantage, Nigeria imports of processed tomato paste is valued at 11.7 billion. This is naira, actually, not dollars. And this is as a result of over 45% of the harvested tomato being lost due to poor food supply chain management. The demand for tomato is currently estimated at 2.3 per annum, while output is 1.8 million metric tons. Also, cassava. Nigeria, as the largest producer of cassava in the world, accounts for 0% of global trade in value-added cassava products. Currently, Nigeria's local textile industry and food companies import over 90% of their starch requirements. The annual national demand for cassava starch alone is estimated at 300,000 tons, while the national supply estimate is about 300,000 tons. Again, let's move to the next level on the value chain, which is markets. Access to markets is perhaps the most challenging aspect of agriculture for farmers. More produce end up rotting in the farms than are actually sold in the markets. There is a need for marketing experts with the understanding of the dynamics of the agricultural sector in Nigeria to get involved by finding innovative solutions. Some opportunities in this area include packaging and branding, product awareness, marketing, and export services. Some challenges. So we've gotten to the end of the value chain. And of course, a lot of challenges. They exist, and we all know that they do. But like I said at the beginning, the opportunities far outweighs the challenges. And I believe that if you have a very good understanding of the market, then you have the opportunity to avoid a lot of the challenges. So what are these challenges? One, the inability of farmers and intending farmers to access vital information on research development, new methods of farming, and improved breeds of crops. And in response to this was one of the first things that attracted me to this industry. I wanted to set up something for myself, and I wanted to get enough information to be able to make a strategic decision. There was no information available. Getting data is really hard. So one of the things we did was we set up agriculturenigeria.com, where we try to provide people with the information they require to be able to make strategic decisions in the agri sector. So this is one very critical area where there is no information and there's not enough available data for farmers to use to make their decisions. The second one, which I'm sure everybody knows, is always access to funds. I mean, access to funds is fine if you are a big, large-scale farmer. But remember that 70% of the population are farmers, and majority of them are small-scale farmers. They don't have access to funding that they require to move their agriculture together. So if there's an opportunity for somebody to think about the small-scale farmers and to see how to help these people up their game, and I think that's a good area to consider. Another is poor infrastructure. I mean, we have issues with electricity, which makes the cost of production very high. We have things like bad roads, which makes it difficult to move crops from the villages where they are planted to the cities where they are needed. So it affects a healthy production, a procession along the value chain. There's always an interruption at every point. The other issue is adequate storage, which I already mentioned. if we can get more storage, lack of adequate storage, it's a challenge that a lot of people within the industry. So if you set up a rice farm or you set up a green company, how do you store? You have to think about this. You have to think about at the instant when you're your investment. The other thing is finding the right seeds. I have a client who is production of livestock production, and for the past 1 week we've been looking for, which is used as feed for animals in the sector. It's difficult to come across that. We can't even get very available. So these are things you need to think about when you're making your best. Difficulty in acquiring land and the attendant insecurity. Like I explained, the land holding system in Nigeria is a bit traditional. However, this is not so much a major challenge anymore because the government is aware of this land holding structure, and it's doing a lot to make it possible for people to get access to land for agricultural purposes. But there's still the issue of insecurity, which is caused by a lot of problems with cattle headsmen and the rest of them. And access to markets. Well, access to markets in the sense that apart from the fact that we don't have the infrastructure to get the produce from where they are needed, we don't have train, for instance. We don't have a train system in Nigeria that makes it possible to move goods by rail. Everything is done by road. And when you have bad roads on top of the problem you have, getting your goods to the market is a problem. And then the other one is lack of skilled labor. It's a big problem. I mentioned earlier that the young people look at agriculture as an unattractive thing to do. So most often than not, it's difficult to find the skilled labor that you need in that sector to be able to move the business forward. But we're working on that, and we're trying to set up a system where we have trained agricultural graduates who are also trained in the of running a business, so that in addition to their technical knowledge in agriculture, they also have some kind of knowledge in business side of it, because really agriculture is a business. And then the final thing I want to talk about is how we can help. So like I mentioned, we already set up a platform called Nigeria.com, provides information. So what we try to do is to provide basic information, especially for new entrants into the sector. We have a lot of young upcoming Nigerians who are now interested in the agriculture sector. We also do a lot of feasibility studies, because the you can make in going into an agriculture venture is not being prepared. Unlike other industries, you can't. This is not the one where you can force your way through. You can't. So it's important that you understand what you're going into, that you understand the circumstances that surround your investment, and that you understand the challenges you're going to face, and then begin to craft a strategy for dealing with each one of them. We also offer assistance in setting up and management of agricultural projects. We work with, we help with equipment sourcing. We also we provide training, and we also provide advocacy. One of the things we're working on now is to get people to start growing their own food. And this is our way of supporting the SDG goals of zero hunger and no poverty. So what we're trying to do is to encourage people to grow what you eat. And we're trying to reach families and individuals just to make sure that we have some kind of foothold into reducing poverty and hunger. And I think that's about everything I have for you. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you so much for this opportunity to share this with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Like he said, my name is Miss Nkechi Obi. I'm the Corporate Affairs for Lagos Commodities and Futures Exchange, and I'll be representing my Managing Director, Mr. Aki Akiriduluwale. And I'll just be introducing you to our exchange and the plans and the visions we have for Nigeria and how it is spread to West Africa and the rest of Africa. I'll just quickly share my screen really quickly.
Yes, in the middle of the screen.
Okay.
With the red bar.
Yeah. Oh, can everyone see, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. So at LCFE, that's the short form for Lagos Commodities and Futures Exchange. One of our major statements here that we make is that we're trying to catalyze the Nigerian economy and invariably Africa as well. And we intend to do this through the commodities ecosystem. Usually when people hear about the term commodities, especially in Nigeria, a lot of them think about just the agricultural products and food. But here at LCFE, we're trying to change that mindset. Our focus is to move people away from just thinking about agriculture when it comes to commodities. We like to think about oil and gas as commodities. We like to think about solid minerals, all forms, as commodities, and currency. Anything that is actually tradable, we consider it as commodities. And I'll just go into a little bit about Africa and agriculture. We know that the agricultural base of Africa is a large and investable sector in Africa and especially Nigeria because our farmable land is very expansive and quite large. And looking at this is telling us that agriculture employs about 60% of the population of Africa, and it contributes to about 25 to 40% of its GDP. But unfortunately, we're seeing that less than 5% of financial institutions are actually playing a part in terms of lending and providing liquidity for the system. And at the same time, Africa's population is growing and is expected to reach at least 2.5 billion by the year 2050. So here at LCFE, we've done a little bit of a survey and research into the commodities ecosystem. And we've come to understand that there are a series of challenges facing the ecosystem. Now, we're using Nigeria as a focus because that's our primary location, but we're also using it as a mirror or as a guide for West Africa and the whole of Africa as a whole. And we've identified that there are a lot of things plaguing the commodities ecosystem in Nigeria, even using the agricultural aspect as an example. And as you can see here, farmers are experiencing what we call heavy post-harvest loss. Our farmers produce and approximately 60% of what they've actually harvested does not actually get to the end user. At least half of that, or less than half of that, is goes bad before it gets to the table, which becomes a problem for a lot of our farmers because if they lose their commodities, it means they can't make money. And we're seeing issues of storage problems, effective movement, logistics, the need for a standardized market, because right now the commodities ecosystem is still largely informal. There's a lot of undocumented transactions going on. There's an increase in demand for a standardized commodities market. And there's also the need for the expansion of capacity among the stakeholders. Now, us at LCFE, we've identified that summing up all these issues or challenges facing the commodities ecosystem, we've seen that it's because a lot of these stakeholders are working on their own. So the farmer is working on his own, the logistics man is working on his own, the storage man is working on his own. So here we're trying to see at the exchange how to create an environment where all the stakeholders in the ecosystem can connect to the existing ecosystem, so that the farmer has an easy contact to a storage facility. He has an easy contact with a logistics man. He has easy contact to a cold storage facility. Where, imagine a situation where the bank and the farmer are able to connect, meaning that the farmer can expand because he has access to liquidity. So we're saying that we no longer want the stakeholders of the commodities ecosystem to work individually. We're trying to pull everyone together so they can function for the singular goal of growing the commodities ecosystem, and in turn, growing the Nigerian economy, because we've come to understand that the agricultural economy has the ability to push the GDP of Nigeria far beyond what it is now. And trying to understand a little bit of our business model, coming in as one of the 3 commodity exchanges in Nigeria, we've come to understand that there is really no need to compete with any of the stakeholders already existing in the market. We don't want to compete with anyone. All we're trying to do is integrate every single person into our ecosystem. So our business model relies basically on the integration of third-party relationships. And as I have said earlier, there are a lot of stakeholders involved. From the diagram, you can see that within the commodities ecosystem and the capital market, the stakeholders the list is endless. It's just a short list. So you can see the insurance companies, logistics companies, aggregators, certification agents, collateral managers, dealing member firms. Each person or each stakeholder is performing their own duties. But with the help of Lagos Commodities and Futures Exchange in the middle there, we can connect everyone together, and as the wheel goes, the economy grows. So here at LCFE, we've identified that the best ways to tackle the commodities ecosystem is first identify and select the viable assets for growth, then build capacity to grow viable commodity assets. We're kind of the bridge between the commodities ecosystem and the capital markets because we are a structured commodities exchange licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission in Nigeria, that's SEC. That's the apex regulatory body for the capital market. So we are trying to build a bridge between the producers of the commodities, that's the commodities ecosystem, and the owners of the money, the seat of power for liquidity. We're trying to bridge the gap between 2 of them, building capacity along both ends for the creation of viable commodity assets. So we've realized that at the capital markets, we have an aging investing population, and we figure that we are moving gradually into the younger generation, the millennial generation, and these individuals are hungry for new, more exciting investable opportunities. And we've seen that if we can create fungible instruments, tradable instruments based or backed by the commodities that are already being grown here in Nigeria, we can bring in a younger generation into the capital market. We're providing liquidity for the farmer or the producer or the aggregator to be able to expand his business. And we can also cut down on the post-harvest loss. And then again, everybody begins to earn more. There's expansion on all ends. And inevitably, the economy benefits from this. So like I said earlier, our services at LCFE go through the agricultural commodities, including grains and liquids, the currency, oil and gas, and solid minerals. We are providing a stable, a structured, and transparent electronic platform that matches the buyers and the sellers through the help of all the stakeholders in the commodities and the capital market. So we are looking at providing price discovery. So when the farmer in his own farm, through his small access to information, he's unable to sell at the right price. So he's probably selling at a loss. But with a structured platform that harnesses data, we've seen that we can provide price discovery for all the stakeholders in the ecosystem. And this helps with the growth and capacity building of each stakeholder. We were incorporated simply to establish a formal, transparent platform for commodities and futures trading in Nigeria. The Commodities Exchange is a vital component of Nigeria's economic infrastructure, and at the same time, our market is seeking to serve global participants as well. So we are looking to integrate the Nigerian commodities ecosystem, not just within itself, but to connect it to West Africa, Africa, and the global market by introducing the relevant stakeholders into our existing ecosystem. Now, one of our passions here at LCFE is the solid minerals sector. If you're familiar with Nigeria, you will know that we keep using the term Nigeria is blessed. Nigeria is blessed. Just take a look at how colorful and how full this Nigerian map is. We have over 40 different mineral types spread across 450 deposits of solid minerals across the country. This makes Nigeria a prime and investable opportunity for various stakeholders. So here at LCFE, we are working with the relevant stakeholders in the solid mineral sector, the government agencies, the extractors, the aggregators, the heavy equipment companies, to see how we can create financial instruments based on these commodities. We are working to develop futures contracts based on the future of extraction of solid minerals that haven't been extracted yet. And this gives investors the opportunity to tap into the thriving economy that is Nigeria. The solid minerals sector, it provides so much opportunities, and we're excited that our government is also looking into that, and we are happy to be playing a heavy role in this aspect. The oil and gas sector in Nigeria is one of the thriving sectors right now. And it's a little uncomfortable sometimes when we think that a lot of the crude oil gotten from Nigeria is being traded externally. So it is one of our visions to see Nigeria's crude and refined products traded by Nigerians in Nigeria. We are providing a platform where a platform makes it possible to trade contracts of these oil and gas commodities, both refined and crude, within Nigeria. So we're seeing that one day the foreign countries would be able to come to our platform, which is accessible everywhere, thanks to technology. It's accessible anywhere, and they can actually trade our commodities through our platform. And it will also give our indigenous producers the opportunity to expand and grow their businesses. LCFE goes beyond trading just the exact commodities. So we have the spots and the futures market, like I said a little bit earlier. So we go beyond the alignment of the stakeholders in the commodities ecosystem. We are looking to generate de-risk, fungible, investable instruments that are backed by commodity assets. So the stakeholders of the ecosystem can grow their businesses and raise capital through our commodity exchange as well. And these financial instruments can be in form of exchange-traded notes, exchange-traded instruments, commercial papers, various listed forms of funds and contracts, and it can be used for commodity aggregation, for commodity processing, the purchase or procurement or lease of heavy equipment, infrastructure development, cold chain, commodity extraction and production. LCFE provides the opportunity for capital raising across our 4 asset classes. Okay, seems like I've just gone a few minutes over time, but I hope you were able to understand our vision and our passion for Nigeria and Africa, because we believe that Nigeria is one of the greatest investment opportunities available. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, Connecting Networks.
Voilà, merci beaucoup. Je voudrais vous remercier de l'opportunité que vous me donnez de participer à cet événement. Déjà, je voudrais d'emblée féliciter les organisateurs et c'est une occasion de plus que vous donnez aux entrepreneurs africains d'avoir l'opportunité de pouvoir commercer entre eux. Je crois que je participe à un panel qui va essayer de montrer comment s'implanter dans le pays. Et dans mon cas, je vais parler donc de la possibilité de s'implanter au Congo. Et cette possibilité, je veux vous en parler à travers un outil que nous avons mis en place. Cet outil, on l'appelle l'Iziba. L'Iziba, c'est un nom d'une langue nationale de chez nous, le Lingala, qui signifie source. Donc, nous venons, il y a quelque temps, de créer une source où les entrepreneurs peuvent venir s'abreuver pour avoir des informations lorsqu'ils veulent entreprendre au niveau local. Pourquoi on a créé l'Iziba? Parce qu'on était parti d'un constat. Au Congo, l'information existe, mais elle était éparse. Donc, il fallait la centraliser. Et donc, nous avions créé cet outil pour donner le maximum d'informations à tous les entrepreneurs qui veulent opérer sur le Congo. Et donc, ce site présente plusieurs menus, mais la particularité de ce site, c'est que nous avions fait le choix de présenter le Congo à travers les départements. Donc, au-delà de l'accueil où il y a une présentation générique du Congo, où nous parlons de la géographie. Pourquoi nous parlons de la géographie? Mais c'est parce que, comme l'avait dit Napoléon en son temps, que chaque pays a l'économie de sa géographie. Et donc, notre pays, le Congo, a aussi l'économie de la géographie. Et c'est quoi l'économie, la géographie de notre pays? On a une mer, donc ça veut dire des opportunités en domaine de l'économie maritime, y compris dans le sous-sol le sous-sol marin avec les hydrocarbures. Et puis nous avons au niveau local la présence des forêts, des terres arables, d'un réseau hydrographique dense. Ça veut dire que des opportunités dans le domaine de la forêt, de l'agriculture. Et puis, notre pays a été doté, la nature l'a doté de plusieurs curiosités touristiques qui fait aussi que notre pays est un pays touristique aussi du fait de toutes ces curiosités. Donc, ça, ce sont les opportunités que nous avons au niveau du Congo. Et ces opportunités, on va les retrouver à travers tous les 12 départements que notre pays regorge. Donc, nous avons pour cela donc dressé des cartes d'identité pour chaque département. Et cette carte, à partir de ces cartes d'identité, nous avons, dressé des profils, nous avons profilé tous les départements. Donc, à travers cet outil, celui qui veut investir au Congo peut avoir des informations sur le profil de tous les profils sectoriels de tous les départements au Congo. À côté de ces départements, pour lesquels nous avons dressé et les cartes d'identité et des dossiers des départements qui vont des profils aux créneaux et opportunités qu'on peut trouver dans chaque département, nous avons sur notre site mis en place une boîte à outils de l'entrepreneur. Et qu'est-ce qu'on peut trouver à ce menu boîte à outils de l'entrepreneur? Mais on aura des informations sur la création d'entreprise. Vous aurez donc au niveau de ce menu comment on peut créer une entreprise au Congo avec toutes les activités qui sont réglementées, comment effectivement avoir des agréments sur ces activités. Et puis, nous avons aussi, au niveau de cette boîte à outils, le répertoire des entreprises, parce que ça permet à un entrepreneur qui est à la recherche de débouchés ou de partenaires de rentrer dans ce répertoire et de pouvoir identifier les entreprises avec lesquelles elle souhaite échanger. Et puis, nous avons aussi, au niveau de la création, complété le statut juridique des entreprises pour permettre, si quelqu'un veut s'installer, quelle forme juridique il peut adopter. Je vous ai parlé des agréments sectoriels. Nous avions donc listé tous les secteurs pour lesquels on peut avoir des agréments sectoriels avec les conditionnalités pour pouvoir avoir ces agréments. Cette boîte à outils est complétée par les coûts de facteurs de production. Donc, un opérateur qui souhaite venir au Congo, en venant sur ce site, saura combien coûtent les facteurs de production au Congo. Et ces facteurs de production vont de l'énergie, de l'eau, de l'Internet, du téléphone, des transports. Tout ça, la personne va l'avoir au niveau de coûts des facteurs de production. Et puis, nous avons aussi mis en place une boîte à outils d'intelligence économique où, finalement, nous montrons à chaque entrepreneur comment il peut faire pour créer son entreprise, pour monter un business plan. Et puis, nous avons une rubrique à ce niveau sur les opportunités d'affaires. Donc, chaque fois qu'il y a une opportunité d'affaires qui se fait, qui émerge, nous la postons sur le site pour permettre aux entreprises de pouvoir en profiter. Et puis, nous avons terminé par deux rubriques. D'abord, les instances d'appui. Quelles sont les structures en local, aussi bien privées que publiques, qui peuvent accompagner les entreprises qui veulent installer sur place. Et puis, vous savez que tout développement d'affaires entraîne forcément des conflits. On a mis un menu sur la gestion de conflits en mettant en avant le Centre de médiation et d'arbitrage du Congo pour donner une autre façon de pouvoir gérer les conflits au niveau local. Et puis, à côté de cette boîte à outils, nous avons aujourd'hui le cadre légal et réglementaire qui régit les affaires au Congo. Et là, nous avons, tous les textes de loi que nous avons classés par secteur pour permettre à celui qui veut investir au Congo d'avoir tous les éléments. Et ça va de l'assurance, nous avons classé par ordre alphabétique, ça va de l'assurance jusqu'aux télécommunications. Donc, et dans chaque secteur, tous les textes qui sont encore applicables, vous pouvez les trouver ici. Donc, nous avons mis en place un outil qui permet aujourd'hui d'avoir des éléments sur la réglementation, des éléments sur les coûts de facteurs, des éléments sur la création et des éléments sur les opportunités à travers le profilage des départements que nous avons fait. Enfin, nous complétons notre portail par une série d'études qui nous semblent pertinentes, que nous allons mettre en ligne au profit des éventuels partenaires. Donc voilà, mesdames et messieurs, ce que je voulais vous partager en termes d'opportunités pour comment s'installer, s'implanter au Congo et quel accompagnement vous pouvez avoir. Il est évident que la plateforme pose des questions, apporte des solutions d'ordre générique, mais pour ceux qui veulent des solutions spécifiques, nous avons une équipe en backup qui permet de répondre aux préoccupations. Et donc, il y a un système de chat qui permet effectivement d'échanger avec tous les investisseurs qui sont intéressés par la destination Congo. Donc voilà, messieurs, mesdames, ce que je voulais vous partager sur la possibilité de s'implanter au Congo. Je vous remercie.
Eh bien, merci d'avoir participé à cette réédition des Connecting Days estivales. Nous espérons tout d'abord que cette réédition vous a plu et nous vous invitons à prendre contact avec nous pour toute question, mais également si vous souhaitez que l'on mette votre pays en avant. Thank you for attending this re-edition of the Connecting Day. We hope that you enjoyed this event and you find the information you needed. Please let us know if you have any questions and also if you would like for us to advertise the country. We hope to see you soon. Have a nice day.